Activists and organizers spent the year adjusting to new restrictions on their advocacy, as the coronavirus forces us all apart. The pandemic has highlighted and exacerbated racial, social, and economic inequities, making activism in 2020 more urgent than before. In May, Officer Derek Chauvin kneeled on George Floyd's neck, leading to his death. The incident was caught on video, prompting Black Lives Matter protests across the country and fresh demands for justice for Black victims of police brutality. The killing came as coronavirus surged through the country, disproportionately killing Black and brown Americans. As the movement gained traction, different parts of the country rallied against local incidences of police violence. Rochester, New York marched to highlight the death of Daniel Prude, who was shot by police. Louisville, Kentucky marched in the name of Breonna Taylor, who was killed by cops in her own home. Demonstrators in Georgia demanded justice for Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed by a former police officer and his son while he was out jogging. Day after day, month after month, demonstrators took to the streets. Demands to defund the police entered the mainstream, and conversations on anti-racism took place in households nationwide. Abolish ICE protests have been ongoing since the start of the Trump administration. His immigration policies have forced families apart, made it harder to immigrate to the United States, and threatened recipients of deferred action for childhood arrivals. But in September, a nurse at an immigration and customs enforcement facility in Georgia blew the whistle on high rates of forced hysterectomies and medical neglect. The allegations spurred anger from lawmakers and activists alike. The accusations sparked memories of past incidences of the forced sterilization of Black, Latinx, and Native American women by the state.
Wake up, we want freedom, freedom! Getting rid of ICE, we don't need them!
And though much of the world has been put on pause due to the pandemic, climate change has raged throughout America. According to the United Nations, the world is dangerously behind schedule on cutting carbon emissions. From fires, floods, hurricanes, and drought, the country continued to see the consequences, prompting renewed calls for urgent action on environmental issues affecting millions.
Let's not forget that we are still on track to an increase of temperature of 3 degrees at least in the end of the century, which would be catastrophic. So we are in the beginning of a road.
From anti-racism to immigration reform to climate change, in 2020, the pandemic forced organizers to take advantage of digital communities more than ever before. Activists use TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms like Zoom to organize. More people are getting involved, connected, and sharing ideas even if we can't all be together in person. And even as a new administration is set to enter the White House in 2021, they'll still be the ones holding the powers that be to account.